friends. This is the Be Real Babe podcast, a place where your average babes come together to talk about life stresses, messes, and successes. A place where being yourself is the ultimate goal, where your opinion, your story, and your individual experience matters. Join me, your host B, and my guests for real and raw talks every week, laying it all out there so we can all help each other learn more, grow deeper, and evolve collectively. Now keep in mind, as a disclaimer, no one here is an expert and no one is giving any advice. This is strictly our opinions, thoughts, feelings, and for entertainment purposes only. Now with that being said, it's time. So grab your drink, grab your joint, and let's jump right in. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Be Real Babe podcast. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by the show today. I hope that you have a good time. And if you're a returning listener, watcher, supporter, thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for coming back time and time again. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandy. I am the host of the show, and today you guys were on episode 251, being real about being a corporate girly. Now you guys, I'm so excited for this episode because we have an amazing returning guest. Not only is she an amazing supporter of the show, she's one of my favorite people to talk to. I loved having her and her daughter on the show to talk about their experience with topical steroid withdrawal. And today we're talking about the corporate world because we feel very similar about our experiences being corporate girlies. And I'm very excited for you guys to hear this episode. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you, if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or Rumble, to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment if you can. And if you are looking for me on social media, you can find me on TikTok or Instagram at the Be Real Babe or the Be Real Babe podcast. And if you are wanting to be on a show yourself, you can email me at theberealbabe@hotmail.com. Now, quickly, for a quick disclosure before we get into this episode, next episode is going to be a very quick one. It's going to be a wrap up of this last season, so I can kind of guide you to the episodes that happened, kind of like the 2025 episode that I posted recently, but just going to give you guys an update on what's going to be happening on the show. But if you're not going to listen to that, I just want to remind you that your girl is taking a 2-month break. I normally launch the seasons at the beginning of March, but this one is going to be an extended break. I'm not going to be launching until April because many reasons. One, in which you're going to see in this episode, Riverside is crashing out on me. I have never had more technical difficulties in my entire life. I thought after 5 years I would get better. Turns out I'm just getting worse. So I need to learn a little bit more, and I need to take a longer break to be able to educate myself, practice, learn a little bit more about this art. Basically, since I started 5 years ago, I have just been going for 5 months straight. I get 1 month to reset myself before the next season, and I have done that for 5 years straight. In that time, I don't get very much time. I get about 2-week break from recording, and then essentially I have to jump back in to redo everything for the following season. So this season, I have a big surprise. In the season break, I have a big surprise coming up that I'm going to share with you once we hit season 11, but that is what I'm going to be working on. At the same time, I need to figure out Riverside more. I need to figure out DaVinci. I need to figure out my process flow and social media, my backgrounds, all of that. So I will talk more about what's to come in the next episode, the season finale. But if you don't want to make it to that one because you don't want to hear the catch up because you already heard the 2025 episode, totally get it. But just know that I am going to be taking a break. And if you want more content from me and you haven't been watching my YouTube channel, A, what are you doing? B, go over there. I have about a whole year's worth of weekly uploads about Canadian news, topics, politics, as well as internet insanity segments every week, bringing you crazy shit on the internet that probably still applies to today. So if you are needing more, there's 250 episodes prior to this one. I'm sure you haven't watched them all. And there's about, 100 different YouTube episodes that are completely separate from the podcast on there as well. So tons of content for you guys to consume with me. So please go and do that in the break. Please don't forget about me when I come back. And again, like I said, if you're interested on being season 11, let me know. And if you want to know more about season 11, hit me up on the season finale. But for now, let's get into this amazing episode with Adrianna. All right, babes, it's time to get on to the show. And with me today, I have a very special guest returning for her second time. I'd like to welcome Adrianna back to the show. Hey, babe. How's it going? Welcome back. I'm so excited to have you back. Just you this time, though.
Yes.
Missing your daughter. So those that don't know, Adrianna and her daughter Shamra came on. Was it season? Oh my gosh, it's been season 8.
It was a season before this.
Season 9.
Yeah.
Season 9. Holy, time is so crazy. I'm like, I actually measure my time in seasons of the podcast. Like,
I think we were middle, end.
I should have looked that up before. Yeah, which is so great because you started talking to us about, you guys came on about the tropical steroid withdrawal because you had heard the episode with Sunit, which you had already known, but then the podcast came on and we talked about that and she shared a little bit more. And it just makes me so happy because that's what happens when you share your story, right? You inspire others.
It is. It's good. And I personally think it's a good one to share because a lot of people are getting handed things that without being told the full scope of what the consequences are.
100%. And you know how many people since then that have talked about eczema or having something like that, and my ears immediately perk up and I go, so it's like I won't drop the nugget right away because of course I'm like, well, I don't know much of their story, but I'd be like, because this one girl was having, actually in Grand Prairie, I think she was, and I'm pretty sure I told her about you guys and I sent her your episode, but she was having like the same things, like crazy eczema breakouts. She couldn't figure out what was going on. Nothing was helping. And I was like, hey, this could be completely out of left field. But I have this episode with these two girlies, a mom and daughter, and they came and told us, and I'm not saying that's what it is, but maybe even just talking to her if you want to. So I did send her the episode. So that was a couple weeks ago. So you never know. You might get a DM from a random person or check your requests. But yeah, because like you guys went through that for a very long time and catching up now. How is she doing now? How are you guys doing now? Is she doing good?
She's doing good. Like she's planning the wedding. Shamra is, we jokingly call her a high stress girly, high anxiety girly, but she handles it really well, but she knows it about herself. Medical anxiety is real and it trickles into other parts of your life. And so with the wedding, there's a little bit, but we discussed already. She's doing the destination elopement kind of thing, and so we're removing a lot of that for her, and it's good. We're excited. She's doing great. They were all up here for Christmas. I had all of my kids except one here for Christmas. The roads were too bad from Fort St. John, so she didn't want to do the Taylor Bridge. So they stayed. But yeah, it was a very full house. It was amazing. My kids have been asking me to play Minecraft for years. And so we were all sick. We got influenza A. It was so bad we actually ended up getting tested. So some of us had to go to the emergency room. We opened gifts on the 23rd, which was the greatest thing we could have done because by the 24th we were dropping like flies. Two of us barely emerged. It was bad. So we ended up just all being really sick, and we played Minecraft for hours and hours and hours. We had a great time. We had buckets and bowls and things, and nobody. It was so bad.
But that was time together, right? Yeah. I love how you're museum feel like time together.
And it was fun. And it's real because like even when they were young, kids, you eat a bunch of junk food and you go to a bunch of malls and you go do things and
school, plays, germs everywhere. 100%. And like when you're embracing it.
Everybody's getting it.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And you just have to embrace it, right? So it's like, at least there wasn't like one or two and like half the people it's like everyone's down together at least, I know that sucks, but get it out together while you have time off work so you're not taking more time off or whatever it is. And when you're all together, it's like taking turns helping each other through it. Like you cleaned the puke bowls this time.
It was a really good Christmas. Like That's it was good. Unfortunate, but it was also really amazing. So
once you could look back and laugh.
We logged an embarrassing amount of hours in Minecraft and loved it. And now actually I probably still do an hour every night, and I'm on like FaceTime with my two oldest daughters the whole time because the three of us have built this world and whatever. It's a super fun creative outlet. Like I totally never thought.
That's so funny. My mom started playing Fortnite this year as well, and like she used to always give my brothers shit, not give them shit, but there was always very timed on that. And like again, I think it's like we always talk about, it's like the intention of things and what you're doing in balance, right? Like it's totally great. You have to have your creative outlets, and that looks different for everybody, right? And sometimes that is a video game, and sometimes that comes to you later. I mean, I fucking loved Mario Kart as a kid, but now you put me in one of these games, I'm like, this is too much for my tiny millennial brain to wrap around. But like for my mom, she's like, it's fun. We do it with everybody together. It's something that like if you have a physical illness or like a mental illness too at the same time, you can lie at home in bed and still be, creative and play and use your mind and stuff, right? So I totally understand having that and being able to do it with your kids too, right? Which I think is really cool, and especially since they've been asking. So what a good time to do that. Universe lined up for them now. It's like, hey, you asked for it, so this is the only way you're getting it, is if we're all sick. That's amazing. But yeah, I get the high stress girly thing, and I get the medical anxiety, right? Like that really fucks you up, because I'm not trying to be this way. Between your parents and like medical and government, I think those are the biggest ones when you feel let down and betrayed by them. Mm-hmm. That is very hard for that not to trickle across everything, because especially as Canadians, we're very taught that, and everywhere, but very much taught that, government protects us, and medical people can't be assholes or can't be, ignorant or stupid. And they know everything. Doctor's always right, right? And it's like funny how a doctor's always right, but a customer is always right. So doctor's right, patient isn't, customer is, owner of the business. Okay, either way. How about people can be right or wrong? That's where I'm at, right? So, I love that I have this resource now. No offense, I'm not happy you guys went through this, obviously. But as soon as I hear something to do with a situation like you guys, I'm like, here. Because not only was it for the TSW, Yes.
Yep.
It was the medical gaslighting and the school bullshit that you guys had to go
Yep.
through and the outside judgment and you trying to do the best you can as a mom and feeling like you're coming up short every time when really from day one someone came up short for you.
Yep.
That's how I feel. That's how you're. So I'm like, here, Adrianna knows exactly what you've been through. Here's a great come up story with her and Shamma. So happy you guys are happy. But today, corporate girly talk, which I love. Thank you for coming on today because, like I said, there was a couple things that triggered me to talk about it. And I remember you'd said, oh, I'd love to come to talk on because I have had positive things. There are positive stuff for corporate. So before we get on to our feelings about corporate world and all that, let's go through like education. So let's start. We'll start with you. So finish high school, yes, and then?
Yep. And then I went on to healthcare. So I have a BSN in human science.
That's amazing.
So I guess it took.
Well, I guess for me, I think people that go into it are just like actually like really care about helping people, right?
Yeah. So it took me a lot of years to finish it, and I worked through the whole time. But yeah, I did it, and then so I worked in long-term care, and then I had an amazing opportunity in private sector to work at a palliative home for HIV positive and HIV affected men, and learned a lot. And so I worked under the umbrella of infectious disease, and loved it. I also did community care with adults with mental and physical disabilities. Also in a private sector, I worked for both of the agencies I worked for nonprofits, and loved it. So did many years with that, and then we made a decision that the kids. So I was home the whole time the kids were really young, and the kids were teenagers. And we kind of made a decision. We started seeing things, and we're like, we think we need a full-time parent home more because shift work is shift work. And my ex-husband worked in the oil field, so he was gone a lot. And so I took a step away, and I wasn't working. And then my husband's company downsized, and so he was let go. And then the best job for him was to go be a contractor driver, and so no benefits. And at this time, so my daughter Shammer, we spoke about, has expensive prescriptions, and so we knew that the only way that we could get coverage was if one of us got a job with benefits, because you don't have to do a physical for corporate benefits. Group benefits is what they're called. So my mom knew of a position available in the company she worked for. My mom was in payroll she was in HR already. She started in payroll, and so she was in HR, and she's like, nobody's applied. She's like, I can send you information, you'll get an interview, but you got to do it. And so I went and I had an interview, and I found myself working for the single largest waste company. So it's Waste Management, WM, the big green, whatever. And so I started in a lower level, like administrative position there. And so I actually, I went and spoke to someone, and I actually got coached on my resume, because sometimes you can be too educated for a position.
Oh, I've been there. When I moved to Kelowna, I was like trying to just get a job, and they're like, you have too much education to be a waitress. And I was like, cool, but I can't find any other job right now. So I've waitress, so I can't because I've been in an office before. Okay. Yeah.
So if you want to get corporate, I highly recommend you get a professional help you with your resume, and as well do interview coaching, because everything is system orientated. Like, they're looking for very specific phrases, they're looking for very specific answers, they're looking for specific behaviors. I think it's really important. I had this person and my mom in her limited capacity, because like she had, she couldn't just tell me the secret to the sauce, right?
Of course.
So there was stuff like that. I got the job. It was great. I got a guaranteed raise every year to my salary. I'm salaried. I know how much my paycheck is every month, and I got phenomenal benefits.
Yes.
Phenomenal. And that was it. And then it turned out to be a huge lifesaver, because my marriage fell apart, and so I was a single mom of sorts, in that I had primary custody, but like their dad was still showing up when needed, so not a total single mom. Yep. But I was the primary for the kids, so doing all that, keeping the house going, all that stuff, and it was phenomenal. So, but yes, so the education is, my background's in healthcare, and
kind of
And
took
when I
off
would do
from
it, I
there.
think the main thing that they liked to see was that I was, when I did evening shifts, I was the house manager for all the evening shifts um, for the palliative home. So
Yeah,
I
that's
had
a smart move. Yeah.
managerial experience, and I could multitask. The job I had was you had no less than three things going at the same time. So
And that's so interesting too. So that's such a good point. So one thing too, I find like, and I don't know if you felt this way. And did you feel pressure to go to school right away and pick something, or is it something that like you kind of always wanted to do when it came to your education?
I went to school at a state.
I mean, hey, doesn't matter how we get there.
Um, I, I, I was a bad kid. I was a bad kid,
Fair.
and I as I, like as an example of how rough I behaved as a young teenager. In the early '90s, they diagnosed me a female with ADHD, and so that
Interesting.
was unfreaking heard of.
I was gonna say that wasn't a
But that was
thing.
bad with a capital ad. So I I got that diagnosis. I got put on meds. The meds were not greatly understood at the time. No one told my mom that they were giving me amphetamines. And I managed my own meds as a teenager, living in, you know, the hood. And before I knew it, it was I was predisposed to addiction,
Yeah.
and genetically. And before I knew it, I was on amphetamines.
Mm.
And yeah, and so I was a bad kid. I was whatever. I was in rehab as a teenager. More than I think I did three, and just different stuff. And I was undiagnosed dyslexic at the time. We didn't know.
Oh,
And
shit.
I would hear from so many people, Adrianna, you're so smart. It's too bad you can't spell, and like whatever. So I found myself a mom at 18, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to school. Like,
Good for you.
like,
That's a
I
great
just
spite, though.
decided. I just decided. I was like, Adrianna, you're so smart. End the comment. Like,
And
that's it.
yeah,
No more of the rest. And so I went, and it was hard. It was hard. And then after the little bit of upgrading that I did, and then in the college environment, I did
thrived.
find out that I had dyslexia. So they offered me resources and stuff, and so I learned that about me, and then I was like, okay. But yeah, I went to school out of spite. I did it to like everybody that had made that comment. I was like, that bitch, like I got this.
But that's the best kind of spite and stuff way to look at it, right? Because some people could just take that and be like, yeah, you're valid. Like, instead of having that outside opinion validate you, it's kind of like, fuck you. Like, you're wrong. You don't know me. You don't get to decide. And maybe, hey, maybe that's who you were at the time, right? Like, maybe there's a part where you're just like, yeah, I'm not doing that. You're right. And they've seen the potential, whatever makes you rise to that, right? Like when people are quote unquote hating on you, sometimes it's like what you need. It's not right and it's not great. But at the same time, it's like,
Motivation, wherever you're getting it. So.
sometimes, I hate to say that. I'm not saying that's ever right, but like that obviously put a fire under you to be like, it was kind of almost like maybe a wake up call where,
Yeah.
in a sense, right? Where it was just like, I don't think it should be and dyslexic. Like, I think those backhanded comments, they could have been like, hey, Adrianna, like, you have so much potential. What are you doing? But then, like,
Yeah.
do we listen when someone says it like that? I wonder. I know I fucking don't, right? So that's why it's like sometimes the messages, we want them to be delivered so nicely, but sometimes, like, I personally don't listen to them where they're delivered nicely. So sometimes I really truly need to be like hit the face with like some like rudeness on like, oh, fuck you then. Like, my competitive stubbornness, like, prove you wrong. Sometimes that's good. So I tell Grant sometimes, like, please, like, make fun of me enough to like trigger that like fuck you kind of situation. That's more motivating than just being like, you go, girl. You know what I mean? But that's so really good. So you were when you're right after had a baby and you went through school and you were working at the same time?
Yes, so
Holy shit.
I was working and going to school, and then I got married, had twins, took a step back from working, still did, the courses I could do and stuff like that, and then kept going and did all the things. And yeah, but it was
That's a
it
lot.
was a lot, but yeah, working and my very first job in healthcare was in the laundry and housekeeping, and it was amazing.
I can
It
imagine.
was fun. It was fun. We had a good time. It was hard work. It was very hard. Those loads of laundry weigh upwards of 100 pounds, and 3 times that one wet. And this was like I'm dating myself because anybody who works at the PLC in Calgary knows that they don't do in-house laundry, or it's all contracted out. So
Times have changed. But that was, yeah. So we went to school, went to be there. So for myself, like, I felt like I was not really pressured to go to school from like anybody around me, but I felt like a lot of people knew what they wanted to do. And I just was like, I don't know what I want to do. And just going to go to school seemed like such a waste of money and time for me. But then parts of me are like, you're always hearing those people that don't go to school after initial high school or whatever, after they graduate, and then they just don't go back, right? And so I'm just like, I didn't want to like lose the train of it. So I just thought I went and ended high school to get credits for my credit classes. I always wanted to be like a secretary. Like when I grew up, I actually wanted to be the receptionist at the elementary school because
Oh,
I felt like you got to like see all the kids, you got to help, you got to be a part of it, but you actually didn't have to teach them or be with them all day. The same ones all day, every day. So it was like, there's a way I could help. I like the organization of admin. I've always kind of been drawn to like structure and like organizing. So that's actually always what I wanted. So I was like, I'm going to go do, like volunteer to work with the school secretary. So I did that for like all of afternoon in my grade 12 year, and I was like, you know what, why don't I keep doing this, because this could be a career. So like, even if not, let's just go into admin so that while I'm figuring it out, at least I'll have a leg above these like just graduated with high school
yeah.
diploma bitches, you know? That's where my head was at, and was like, I don't know if I love doing this, but I know I'm good at it. So while I'm figuring it out, I still think I should get some form of education, but I don't want to get so far in debt and doing something that I don't like. What if I go to be a doctor and then 4 years down the road, I'm like, I hate this? Or, you know what I mean? Like, not that I thought I was going to be a doctor, but something like that with a big educational price tag and time. And so I went and did like business admin, like 1 year, and learned Excel and PowerPoint, all the basics. And then I went and got my first like corporate girly job. And I was so proud of myself. It was for an oil home heating company
Mm-hmm.
in Port Alberni. And I was like the front receptionist. And I was just like, I have a picture of me just sitting there with my phone. Like, I was so proud of myself, my little first corporate job. But it was a family owned business. So first one, last one in, first one fired kind of situation.
Yeah.
So I kind of got to understand, like, you know, like when you get into business, there's not politics, but certain ways of politics, but you just have to not take it
It's
personal.
a
I think that
system,
was,
but
it's a system.
and you're not immune
Exactly.
from it.
You're not immune from it. And, you know, and it is what it is. But I think it took me quite a few years to fully understand that, not to take it personal. And those are some things we'll talk about the corporate life. But yeah, so I worked there, got let go, moved to Alberta, started working in the oil fields like most of us do. The money was really nice up there, but it's chaotic. The oil field's chaotic. I worked in it was like an instrumentation electrical company called Phoenix in Grand Prairie, and it started off with just like a handful of
Yeah.
people, and then it grew. Now it's huge. They've grown
Yeah.
it so huge now. That's where I met Shandy, actually, which I told her. I was like, hey, I met someone. I was like, you have no idea, it's such a small world. That's so funny. And she's like, holy shit, that is a small world. That's where I met Shandy. And so my whole life, basically, as I was going through it, I've been just working corporate jobs and moving my way up. Like, a lot of it was administrative, like reception, and then I'd go up to the next level. It'd be like admin. So then I like went off and worked in dental for a while. In Grand Prairie, I worked for Dr. Peepgrass.
You worked for Dr. Peepgrass?
I worked for Dr. Peepgrass for like 3 years, I want to say.
Yeah.
I worked for his like his associates. Like, it wasn't always directly for him. I helped, but I would work for his associates. I was there for a couple years. That's where I met my really good friend Dion, that we're still friends with, and quite a few friends from the dental years. But again, it was still admin. But I was like,
You removed
trying.
Junior's wisdom teeth.
That's so funny. You know what? That's my favorite thing about working in that office. All the people that came through on sedation and all fucked up from getting their wisdom teeth out, and you'd see these like 300-pound men just like totally taken down by this anesthetic, and like their tiny little wives trying to like hold them up, or you'd hear these like girls screaming, and it's all because the anesthetic. It actually makes like teenage girls like make sex noises. It's fucking weird. And so you're just sitting there working, all of a sudden he goes, eh, and you're like, what the hell? Like, yeah, dentistry was very different. I learned a lot of very cool people there, but I also learned a little bit of the back end of the medical side, and how there could be some, you know, not saying there, but just like interesting drama in there that you wouldn't think would be in there for sure. And all of dental. And so I kind of got out of it after a while. I was like, you know what? It's too much. It was too catty. It's too many women all in the same spot. No offense, with some like egotistical men sometimes. And it wasn't for me. And dealing with patients all the time. I think I was like, do I want to deal with customers? Like,
And nobody wants to pay for their dental.
no one does.
And everyone, and half of them probably show up in pain. So it's like,
And it's your fault.
Yeah.
And I used to have to book the hygiene. No one wants to come for a cleaning. It was just, and then was chasing people for money, and like, why did my benefits not cover? You guys are a ripoff. And like, I see why dentistry has a high suicide rate for sure. Like yeah, and it's like I love people, but I just don't have that like
I think
compassion.
dentistry's up there with veterinarians
Yes, it's
for
very hard.
suicide.
You're blamed for everything, and it's like, and then you fall down rabbit holes, and then you're just like, wow, no, just kidding. But you know what I mean? You're like, I understand where people come from, so it wasn't for me, and I decided to go out of that. So then I went from there, to Phoenix, where it was just a handful of instrumentation guys that started their own business, and they just needed someone to do their admin. And so I was like, fuck this. I'm done with this. I have enough. They're going to pay me just a bit more than dentistry. So I went over there, and that's when I
Yeah.
started my career in the oil field. Grew to be the office manager there. That place grew. I left for
Okay,
whatever
you must have done some like serious like problem and risk management because they grew so fast. And if you were there for that, like
I
as
was
a
there. Yeah.
manager,
So I was there when they were the tiny little things, and then they moved into their second building. And then I was there for probably like a year, and then I left over to Tritech Safety.
okay,
Yeah, because I was also best friends with the owner's wife, right? And so I definitely think a lot of the times you shouldn't mix the both. Sometimes you can. Don't think you should, but it was just time to move on. Like
yeah,
it was like to that point where it had grown so different from what it started that I just don't know that I could have taken it to the next level of
yeah,
where it needed to go with my current experience. I was just a little admin girly, you
yeah,
know. Then all of a sudden now we're this big business, and it was just a lot for one person. Like I was doing admin, secretarial, AR, AP, payroll,
yeah,
like
everything.
everything, scanning documents, like, you know, and I would have little assistants here and there that would help, that would come from high school to get their hours, right? Like that was really cool. And then Shandy came and she took over all the parts because there was no way that the guys were able to do it. And that was really great. And it grew so fast, and the guys were so great. Like, but it was just like, if I was who I was now, totally different story.
Yeah,
I was young. I was going through a divorce. I was going through a bunch of stuff, right? So, you know, and they were going through a lot for their first time, right? And sometimes people just butt heads, right? And it was just too much butt heads and too much. I had to get medicated because my anxiety was through the fucking roof. And I just was like, I'm 27. I don't know how to run like the office of this. Like, you know,
yeah,
thank you for giving me this
because
opportunity.
they did grow fast.
So fast. And it's because the guys worked so hard. Like they
Yeah,
absolutely deserved it. Like I have no ill will to them. It just wasn't for me, and I needed to that wasn't meant for me. Like from where I am now,
and they
that
were
was like
filling a huge need in that area
a
because there
hundred
wasn't
percent.
a lot
No,
of
there
work.
wasn't. And they had lots of like niche guys in there too.
Hmm.
They acquired a lot of very, very, very smart and very hardworking
Yeah,
men that prove that. And I will always say that. I always say they worked really hard. And me leaving has really just like, it's just the right time. It's the time for them to move on. And there's no way I felt like I could take on that stress to go to the next level. And at that point, money wasn't, you know, when money isn't the chase anymore.
hmm,
I just wanted to be happy. So I moved over to Tritech Safety, and I was a manager over there. And then I worked for there for a year and a half, and I felt like I did really good. And then they decided that they didn't want managers anymore. It was just going to be like workers and then like the owners. So then they eliminated my job. And I was like, I'm fucking done. I'm done with the oil field. Like, I am so done. And then the next day, I was like,
is
give
that
myself
when
a
you
day.
started working for a bud store, like a weed store?
Yes, I
What are
did.
we supposed to
Exactly.
call them?
Cannabis stores. They're
Yeah,
cannabis
okay.
stores. So
I know
bud
people.
tenders is
I'm
the top
I
shop.
don't know. Your dealer? What are we
Yeah, your weed
calling these
dealer. I
things?
know. We're so used to just going to the back alley and getting like a baggie off of someone.
The
And
mall parking lot was where I
exactly.
went.
I remember they'd be like indica sativa. I'm like, weed. How about? Um, and so that's what it was. The next day I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know if I want to go chase oil field money again. Like I don't know what to do. And the next day it was like bud tender. And I was like, I looked at Grant and I was like, the pay is gonna be nothing, but I need to do something that I love. I can't keep chasing money. I can't keep doing what I've been always doing. I haven't gone back to school. How do I change my field? Like, and you know, I'm a huge stoner, man. Like, and it was a big thing back then to decide that you were going to put your name to cannabis. Like, because there was a lot of haters at the beginning. So you had to know that the minute that job was going on your resume, that could mean something. And I was like, yeah, let's fucking do it, because bud tenders, they're not getting paid much more than minimum wage when it started, right? I think definitely wasn't more than like it's $18 an hour.
So now, so bud tender, was that working in the shop, like working the front desk when people go by it? Or is that
Yeah.
actual like bud tending, like clipping buds off
No.
plants?
Yeah, so I
Okay.
guess I should explain that. Okay, either way. So a bud tender is where you're selling the bud. So that's like technically the seller. So the bud
Okay.
tender is the front facing retail person, just like a bartender essentially. Is
Oh,
that's
okay,
why they
okay.
call it like bud
Now
tender
I get it.
bartender.
Bartender,
Yeah.
bartender.
Yeah, so I was a bud tender and that's when I started. So it took a couple months because legalization had just kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to wait a couple of months, but I had severance, so I was fine. In the meantime, I was working for a woman named Vicky and I was doing boot camps up at the 214 place, I think it's called.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, so I was doing boot camps and I'm doing photography to kind of like make up for the side. And then I started bud tending and it did not start out good. We started out like a couple days a week and I was bleeding money. And I was like, holy fuck, like that Christmas, we bought stuff for the cats. And that was that. And then luckily in January, I got promoted to manager of the store. So I was managing the store and then nothing to do with a corporate girly career. But I had my miscarriage with me and Grant and it just kind of like hit us into real life. Like,
Yeah.
do we want to be here? Are we happy? Is this what we want to do? Like, managing the store is great, but is that what I want to do? Like, I've always been like to the corporate side. I like the structure. I don't know if I like managing people. Like, you're all whiny bunch of brats. No offense, just kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, you get to that feeling. Like, managers are really just like babysitters. And then, yeah, so we decided to move to Kelowna. And then I worked online luckily for a while. And they were very gracious to do that to help me like move through, but they also needed to learn what I was doing for them too. So it was a nice little pass off. And then I got my first job at a grow facility. So this is where you can actually clip buds and stuff
Okay.
like that. So at the grow facility, so the way the cannabis kind of works is that you have the growers, they have the seeds, they have the
Mm-hmm.
mother plants, they have the clippings, they grow the clones, they grow them, you got 3 months of harvest, you take them down, you harvest them, you clip them, you put them through the tumbler, you cultivate them, you cure them, you put them in bags, you ship them. So when I first started outside of bud tending, I moved into the growing facility. So my job was inventory. So I got to count plants and
Nice.
grams of weed every day. Like that was my job, was counting plants and counting cannabis. So when you hear corporate, remember corporate can be counting inventory plants.
Oh,
like,
yeah. For
right?
sure. I
People
worked
just
for a
hate it.
company where we had someone whose job was to know how many steel bins our company had at all times. Like,
Right? Like there's so
like,
much.
how many tires? Like in our like maintenance department, like they tend to know how many tires do we have, how many spare alternators do we have, how many chairs for these like air ride seats do we have? Like,
Everybody's
yeah,
gonna know
it
so
can
much stuff.
absolutely mean you are a bean counter. You are a counter. You
Yes.
count things.
We count things, and that's
And
where
you
my
pay well to
career.
do it, and you get great
Yep.
vacation.
Exactly. Exactly. So Flower, anybody know that's been on the podcast, we all know Flower's trash. And I don't think one person that has ever worked for them is like, Flower's the best company. No, it was awful. So I moved over to Valens with my current company, which is SNDL now, and I've been with them. It'll be 5 years March 1st. So
Nice.
the day I started my job at Valens, now SNDL, is the day that I launched the podcast. March 1st, 2022. 2023?
Have we been here that? Yeah, no,
2022.
that's about right. Yeah, because I started
2022.
watching the podcast. I was in my it was like it was just before transplant, and then I
Yeah.
listened to a bunch of your stuff while I was recovering.
I love that. Okay, so is it 2021 now? Because it'll be 5 years. 2022 we would have launched, and I'm just completing my 5th year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, time is, I don't even remember. The pandemic really fucked me up. But yeah, that is crazy. That's so good. So you're listening to us while you're recovering?
Yeah, I was. How much I retained, I don't know. I was on very high doses of cortisone steroids and that shit makes you crazy. Like I was on an insanely high dose to prevent
So you only listen to us because you're crazy. I get it. No, just kidding.
And like I was, I could tell you so many stories about how that drug affected my brain. At one point, my friend who was, this is like off topic, but when you get a transplant, you have to have one person who's there with you, and they're with you the entire time because you are highly medicated, and they have to know everything about your meds to make sure you're taking it properly because you are like basically criminally insane.
Yeah, okay.
That's not how they word it, but that's the easiest explanation of it.
Yeah,
and so Nico was also there because he was recovering, I was recovering, Dev was there, and like Nico would laugh and then she would laugh, like they were just having like, she's my best friend. If I wasn't straight, she'd be my wife. Like we're like, that's the friendship. Like
the questioning one.
If you're not being accused of being lesbians with your best friend, are you actually best friends?
You're not.
So she was great, but they would like laugh at something and then instantly in my head I was like, they're having an affair. It's like, which is like so, and so just such an
Yeah.
insane at
Paranoid.
her
Yeah.
probability, like it would never. Like like a true third wheel best friend,
Yeah.
they are the same person. So they
Yes.
butt heads.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I totally get that. But in your mind, if in that state, you're just like, but you're
I was
crazy. I get that.
crazy. My like Shamra took care of her youngest brother. Like she took a year out of her life to like be a
Oh.
mom with her
Yeah.
youngest brother to do all this. And like I had like I would be like, she's kidnapping him. Like just it was crazy. And so finally Devaney at an appointment with my doctor was like, hey, when can she start not taking these meds? Because I know some people take them their whole thing. I made a plan with my doctor. I had phenomenal first doctor covering my transplant, who said, look, these are your options. And so they put you on a really high dose, like extremely high dose for a few weeks after surgery, and then you come off them, and then we save it as a backup plan if an incidence of rejection happens. And so most rejection is totally curable. You just have to change your meds, up your meds, like whatever.
Yeah.
Most people will experience a few rejections.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's like a flu. Like think of it like that. You're gonna get one. But anyway, so we saved it on the back burner in case something happened. I would have this med to add and whatever. So, but she told the doctor, she's like, she's crazy. Like, it is bananas. And like I was eating everything. I was getting that like fluid hump at the back of my neck. Like it was so bad. And so
definitely have to have you back to talk about your transplant story
the doctor,
for sure.
The doctor asked Devaney a few questions and was like, yeah, we're gonna stop those today. Like no taper, no nothing, which is also a bit wild because like I was on like 12 milligrams 3 times a day, which is insanity.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
And then just nothing.
Yeah, so I was on 12 milligrams 3 times a day, and then actually we were at a point where I was down to twice a day. So I was doing like 10 milligrams twice a day. Still crazy, but I was guano, like that shit, bananas crazy. And so
hopefully I didn't send you down any rabbit holes on the show while you were on these crazy meds.
Like, it's so weird and selective how nuts it makes you. But yeah,
it's good to know at least they were there. I definitely want to, because I want to ask you about that too, because that's just, I know that's its own insane story for sure, because like I don't even know how, like I don't even want to go get my blood like taken to test, and there's full ass people that have had transplants with their spouses. You know what I mean? Like I'm so grateful that's not my experience, but I want to know. And like we talked about, it's good to know these things so that if it ever happens to you, like you're pre-warned. Like no one talks about these kind of medicines and what they do or things like that, right?
It's actually, so with transplant, there's, especially for a woman, there's a lot of things. Like you and Grant could go do blood work right now, but it wouldn't matter until you actually need it, because like if and when you ever have a child, that'll change your compatibility because it changes your sensitivity. So every time someone else's DNA is inside your body, your body like takes a little snapshot of the memory.
Whoa.
So your body will remember that DNA is foreign. That is the most basic
way of explaining
to explain it. But yes,
that's crazy.
So this is so off topic, but
that's okay. We'll go back.
It's whatever. Everybody, when they hear that Nico donated the kidney and that he's and he is a really strong, great match. Everybody's like, that's so romantic, that's so whatever, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, it is, blah blah blah. We're kind of opposites in that way, but that's how couples work. And but I'm like, I understand the science of it, so I'm like, no, bro, okay, I'm AB negative. So there's universal donor, which we all know is O neg. I'm universal recipient. I can have all the blood types.
That's nice.
Right? So I can have all the blood types.
Yeah, okay.
So when we were putting me on the transplant list, before we knew I had a living donor, it was actually really hard because I had to make the decision with my doctor's like support in what list to put me on, because you have to pick a blood type list.
That's interesting.
So that's our thing. Okay. And then the other thing is I had 5 kids at this point with 2 different men. My first son, my teenage pregnancy, and then my rest were with my husband. My ex-husband adopted my first son. Anyways, so I had this. And so I've had all these different DNAs inside my body. So that is what's called your sensitivity level. The real miracle is I was 0% sensitized.
Weird.
Yeah. So either my body doesn't work, it doesn't care to remember these things, hey, I did a lot of drugs. I could have affected my literal DNA's memory.
This is true.
Point. On a cellular level, I got a stoner memory. Who knows?
Feel that. So, my own fault though. That's crazy.
So that is the crazy part. It's not that it's Nico, it's the crazy part. But then the other thing too is like Nico's 7 years younger than me, very healthy.
Yep.
I was in really good health leading up to this pregnancy. The unhealthy part was that I needed a transplant. So it's like, so all those things lined up. So the science of it is it made sense that he could donate and that I am doing really well. So yeah,
It is cute, but it is gross.
0% sensitized. So like the people that understand that are going to be like, wow. So
sorry, I don't know much about it, but I do know that you have gone through a lot, and I feel like you're a very anomaly person in that sense, right? Like, and that's why I hate when people don't put nuance to situations. You know what I mean? Because they're like, oh, this should always be this way. Like, oh, you're saying that. That's shocking for that. It's like, okay, well, what's different with you? And it's like, that just goes to prove that you can't have a set baseline for everybody, because everyone's going to be different on how they react and how their bodies and their makeups and who you've had babies with or had sex with, and that's not even going to the spiritual side of stuff. But anyways, we're squirreling. I love that. I definitely, please, season 11, come back, because I want to know about that, just because I think it's important to hear from someone who has one, and also what people could do to support those that have gone through it. Same when we talked about the TSW stuff, right? Like, it's very important for people to know how to support their friends like that. But today I want to hate on MLM people for hating the corporate girlies. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not hating on MLM people. But I guess at the point is, okay, so back to the weed thing. So I work at Valens. My current job is I move weed across the country. My job is essentially to manage inventory corporately. I work in corporate cannabis, which I never thought was going to be a thing. I got suspended in high school for smoking weed, junior high school for smoking weed, and now it pays for my bills and makes me happy every single day. But so currently, been at my company for 5 years as of March 1st, which is insane. I prayed to God. I always wanted to be that person that's like been at the company forever, that when you hear that person's name, you know shit's gonna get done. When the chaos is happening, who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? You're gonna call Brandy. You know what I mean? Like, that is what I've prayed for and I've worked for, and I finally have gotten there. So I guess I'm a little bit sensitive to people that hate on corporate life, although I understand I'm coming through my own lens. But that's what I wanted to talk about today, because I feel like, so we've talked about our experiences. We have lots of different experiences in different places and stuff. And I've done stuff like, you know, like I've been a bartender, I've been a waitress, I've did banquet halls, like I've done a lot of stuff. But I want to take this episode to highlight the positives of corporate too, because not everyone can be an entrepreneur, you guys.
and not everybody wants to. Like, that's
not everyone
I
wants
think we need
to.
way more room. Like, you wanted to be the school secretary.
Mm-hmm. I did.
There's a lot of there's a really big group of people who in today's stage in 2026 that would be like, well, that's not an aspiration.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a job you get when you're semi-retired, right? Yeah. And like, well, who the fuck are you to say that? Like, 100%. So that's the thing. So like, and if more people talk about all the nuances and the different experiences and the, you know, whatever, then people can make more informed decisions.
Yes, and I feel like
we're empowered in the decision they already have, or the goal they have, or whatever it is.
Exactly, and I think social media has done a big disadvantage to corporate life, because my job isn't to advertise for my company. My job isn't to go out there and try and recruit people to buy our products or like that. Yes, of course, I'm always going to promote us in it, but that's not my job within the company. Right now on social media, there's so many people that have their own business, that are affiliates, that are MLMs, that are marketers, that are selling something, that's like all they do is sell. Mm-hmm. And to get you to come to them, especially MLM people, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to shade you, but y'all do this all the fucking time, is your talk about how shitty corporate is and how working a 9 to 5 and working for someone else is all this shit. And you're just hating on something that you probably don't even know what you're talking about, like in the kindest way. And I mean that, like, there's some women that I know, and I mean this in the nicest way, that have gone from being a stay-at-home mom maybe right into an MLM model, and then sit here and talk shit about a corporate job when they've never worked in it. They just listen to us people that work in corporate. They're like, you know, because of course we got to bitch about it, because that's the whole part of it. But like, and there is negative, I'm not saying that, but it's like they get this false sense of that what they're doing is the right and only thing to do, and fuck everybody else and fuck your 9 to 5. Kindly, if people didn't have 9 to 5, the countries wouldn't work. You think your water and your heat is being provided by an MLM and someone as an entrepreneur?
And the other thing too is you basically are a contractor for a corporation. Tupperware was a corporation, maybe not publicly traded or anything like that, but they were a big ass company.
100%.
That failed, but they were a really big ass company. And if you were selling for Tupperware, you're basically a contractor for them.
Yes.
You're a contractor salesperson. And that's the thing. So like it's like
I'm not trying to be rude, and I'm not saying it's not what you shouldn't do. It's that I don't think you should have to yuck someone's yum to
Mm-hmm.
get ahead in your career and your business. And that's
Yeah.
the problem that I have. I mean, this is an anti-MLM episode. I'm going to have one of those, and I do have a lot of my own problems with the structures. Today, I wanted to be like, please stop using, like, if that's your experience and you are working a 9 to 5 and you quit and now you're doing something you love, lean the fuck on that and talk
Yeah.
about your experience and have other people with their experiences sharing that. That is totally fine. What is illegal is saying that you have this amazing lifestyle because of your MLM and flaunting all this money that you could potentially make when, if you go into the credit, like, I didn't mean this to be an MLM thing, but there's lots of lying going on, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Where within my job, I don't need to lie to anybody about how much money I'm making or what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And my paycheck stays the same. And that's fine because that's sales. I'm not a salesperson, right? So if we want to compare that, but you're a salesperson for a corporation.
Yeah.
You just get to pick, you're just an independent salesperson. That doesn't mean, and I'm not trying to be rude, but that doesn't mean you own your own business. And I think why I'm so pissed off about that is that you have to understand there's corporate, there's entrepreneurship, and then there's that middle ground of affiliate marketers, network marketers, MLMs, whatever that is in the middle. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with each one. You just have to be very, very clear of what they are,
Yeah.
so that you're not misleading people into thinking something else. And that is my problem, is the lack of informed consent in this middle area here. When you run your own company, it's all on you, baby. Yeah, you might not be informed, but it's all on you. When you work for a corporation, it's all on them. You check in. There's this middle ground here that people get, kind of lost in and think that they are this person, but really they're a part of this as well.
Yeah.
That's not being acknowledged. So it's like you hate on corporate, but the corporate structure is probably a big part of how you're being paid.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how I feel. So I don't mean that to be rude, but let's like going into so one thing I've like the positives that I find with corporate, working in a corporate place, is that structure.
Mm-hmm.
I like structure, even though, okay, hold on. My job is chaos. Let me repeat that. It's chaos. But it's chaos between 7 and 3:30. And maybe sometimes it trickles over, but not often anymore. And then it's done. When I'm done, I don't have to come online and post about it. Like, that's this. My job is done when my job is done. Is that kind of how you feel like when you're working a corporate job?
Yeah, there were exceptions. But
of course.
For the most part, yeah, my job was done when my job was done. If they're, and like the exceptions were like, and I was compensated for the exceptions. If I had to use my vehicle to go drive and get a driver who broke down on a highway in inclement weather, I was compensated. I was paid very well for those kilometers. And I could, my boss was like, hey, pick up Tim Hortons. Here's a gift card. Here's this. Here's whatever. Like, all of those things were great. So I was never not compensated for anything outside of my quote unquote job description.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, my job ended. Also, I didn't have to put any of my coworkers on my social media. I don't have to see.
So true.
I don't have to see what my director of sales is doing and what his family's doing. I don't have to see what my safety officer is doing and he's doing. I don't have to see what all my drivers. I don't have to put any of them on there. And
Or they don't have to see yours. That's where I'm more at.
who had worked for the company for a very long time, and even my boss, the very first thing I said was, "Don't put anybody on your social media.
No.
Anything on there can and will be used against you."
100%.
And they're allowed to. They're allowed to. If you phone in and say, "I'm sick, fever of 180, whatever," and then they see you on a houseboat.
Yeah.
You
that is valid now. You're very fucked. 100%.
And everybody's done it. Everybody's had an aunt die.
Yeah.
Because they had to take their kid to a doctor's office, or whatever. I never had to do that. The company I worked for, I want to be careful how I say this because nothing I'm saying is 100% accurate on this. But I would describe them as like a family first company, like a company that has traditional family values.
Yes, yes. And that's more than the ball and dollar. And that's really and that's what I try to understand. I know it's a corporation. And again, with mine, like, it is a corporation. So I know at the end of the day, it is a business. There is always going to make decisions that are best for the company versus what's best for me. However, on the individual level, there is care. There is like this beauty that people don't see that, like that. And I will give the pandemic a big ups for this because it did allow a lot of people to prove themselves remotely in situations that they never got to do that. And I will say that's myself, my job.
Before the pandemic.
I never had remote before the pandemic. And because of the pandemic, I now still get to work 2 days from home remotely. And to be honest, like, I would would like to know what I have to do to get full. But I also like going in and seeing people too. I'm a social
Yeah.
butterfly, so I like the balance. But without the pandemic, I wouldn't have had that opportunity because I had to, because Grant was traveling. And of course, I was high risk because he was traveling. So I just had to work from home. And that's totally fair. And then I moved over to this company and they were kind of like, you can, and our office is overflown. So you might as well work from home. Like my job is potential full.
Yeah.
But again, there's this social aspect and being connected to the people you work with and seeing their faces. And there was a big part of during the pandemic when I was working from home full time, I think for like 4 months under a different boss than mine now. It was mentally very draining because I wasn't seeing anybody and people weren't using their cameras because that was very new, doing Teams meetings,
Yeah.
right? Like all meetings were in person. So Teams was new. People weren't wanting to go on camera ever. Like people to this day, there's some people that just refuse
I
to go
love
on
you when you say
camera.
Teams instead of Zoom.
Yeah, no, we use
Yes.
Teams. We're
I love
Teams.
a
I
Microsoft.
fucking Yeah, I fucking hate Zoom. I tried it for the podcast twice and I was like absolutely not. And yeah, Teams is just
Yeah.
as much as the noise makes me want to have a panic attack. It's still a better platform all around. And yeah, so like then that was bad, but then I got a new boss. People started going back to work more and I started going in office, and because of the pandemic, I get to work from home. And listen, I think it's great, and the parts of me always want to, because like sometimes just putting on clothes and is, or that half an hour drive, it's the drive for me. Like in the winter, in the summer, love the drive.
Yeah.
Winter, hate it. But I think it is good for you. But I feel very blessed that I get to have that option. And if, for example, last year, was it 2 years ago, my cat ended up having to have some like surgery, and I was very nervous about her because her wound was in an area that she could lick
Like,
very easily, and she's old, so there was no cone, there was nothing. I tried the clothes, I tried everything, nothing was working. So my boss let me work extra days from home because I was still working, but then I could have her under my desk and I was able to watch her, and she healed better because I was able to be at home and do that. And like those are the things I think people just don't talk about because it's just all personal stuff that's to you and between you and the company. It's not like people are going on podcasting doing this. It's not like I need to recruit people to my company. And it's not just my company. A lot of companies are like this. A lot more companies for the most part need to be personable to their people,
yeah.
and they know now that by doing that and being like more lucid than people be like, oh, you just have a couple weeks off. Yes, but if something comes up, I can still take the time off. I'm just not going to be compensated for it, which neither would you if you weren't being produced.
Yeah.
Like, obviously there's limits, and I'm not saying all corporations are, but I just hate how they're shaded on, because I have not had a situation come up in the last decade that I have been in the corporate field where my company hasn't stood behind me and supported me in the moments that I needed them, because I rally fucking hard for them.
Yeah. No, I had so many positives working with them, and just on the flow with management. My direct manager was fantastic. He was hilarious. We were a bit of a we were a bit of a thing. There were things that he would do or say that would absolutely drive me nuts, but as long as it was appropriate, I was safe to tell him, I think that's a really bad idea.
Yes.
I think we tried that once and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So I won't be part of it.
But
because it's, like just different things. And like
yes.
it was a safe environment to do that. He also saw more. So our company was customer driven. Without customers, there was no company, period. I mean, I think that's all companies. But anyways, our service to customers is extremely important. And we have set schedules that these trucks have to go out, these bins have, so there's things that have to happen. Yeah. And a lot of my job was tracking driver hours, tracking their lines of business, like when they're changing from one to another. So that was a bulk of my thing. And he saw so much more value in making sure that was done, regardless of where it got done. And he had upper management that supported his decision to do that. So when I first started, I was part-time. I was slightly over part-time. I had enough hours I could qualify for full benefits, but I was not full-time.
Yeah.
And they did that because they know that their benefits is a huge part of bringing people in and keeping them. Yeah. Like retention is huge in corporate. They lose so much money when they have to retrain, and they lose all that experience. Experience is valuable. Corporations see the value in experience. So
and high turnaround makes OGs leave too, right? Like that's a big thing, is like if you seeing a turnaround in other people that are then affecting your job because new people have to be retrained all the time, and the company's not doing anything to retain the people for X, Y, and Z, if they're not figuring it out, that will have old people being like, fuck this.
So like we'll take, my son had wisdom teeth, for example, and I wasn't safe leaving him, so it's like, hey, boss, I need these 3 days in a row of, I don't want to use vacation, I don't want to use whatever, because that should be for vacation. Yes. And I do have 5 days a year I can use for doctor's appointments or whatever, but technically this isn't an appointment. This is a recovery.
Yeah.
So can I work from home? Yeah, no problem. And I had a home office, I had a desk, whatever. Slightly a unique situation. My mom, like I said, she works for the same company that I used to work for. She's like, now she's in HR, and she has a full home office. She's had one for 14 years. So, so like there was a WM office in my house already because we lived together. Yeah. So it was good. So I wasn't totally alone. I had a coworker there.
That's amazing too.
One of my HR
but that's what I'm trying to explain to people. Like, not all companies, because there are some people that cannot work from home. I will say that. Like, there's a lot of people that fuck around.
A garbage truck driver can't work from home.
No, absolutely not.
They were essential for a reason.
And even just some people in who they are. Like, there's somebody that I seen that I worked with once when I was at the gym and I was on a PTO and my email said PTO, but this person was not on PTO. Looked like they were available and they were straight up working out at the gym, and I'm like, okay, I'm not really, like, it's not my place, because I don't know what kind of agreement they have with their boss. Maybe there's an agreement that they're working 5 to 10 and 12 to 4, and that's the only time that they can have their time, and because doesn't matter, like, our job's 24 hours at this point, right? Like, that's the whole thing with corporate that people don't understand sometimes. Yes, it's very rigid, and some really are, but you also can find places that work with you, especially if you're going to be an asset to their company with your vibes, your energy, your positive, whatever. Like, I think that's my favorite thing when, like, one of my friends, my favorite people, just left the company, and I told him that I hope that he holds guilt for the rest of his life for leaving me heartbroken, because he's just a very easy person to get along with, right? And I love, like, I've been working with this person for 3 years, like, one of my favorite people. Everything's always super easy. I ask a question, they answer, there's just mutual respect, things just flow well. This is where I hate where people are like, corporate's misogynist. I'm sorry, babes, I have been treated well by the men I work with and the women I've worked with. Not saying that I don't have amazing women with me, don't get me wrong, I do, but in my alter experience, I've actually always had more support from
I think it's
men
insane
in
for
my
someone
work
to say that corporate is misogynist, because in big companies, it's next to impossible. It's next to impossible because they're graded on an inclusive system. Like, the company I worked for was traded on the stock market. They had to be open to everything. They had an entire board of people they had to show. Like, I, again, no longer with the company. Nothing I say here is fact. But I'm willing to bet the farm that there were really good, qualified men who were turned down because able to do the job, qualified, maybe not as qualified, women applied for the same position.
Yes. And they will get paid a little bit less too. Unfortunately, it's just true.
More men overall in management in the industry? Yes, but a lot of those men, my boss included, worked up from the bottom. They were drivers. And in his generation, there were more male garbage truck drivers than female. 100%. And he falls just below the boomers. Like, his older sister, I guess, like his oldest sibling would be considered, like, so that's the generation he's in. He's not 65, 70, but he's just, just below it. So whatever that generation is, I don't know. But now, I mean, it's not 50-50 female drivers to male drivers. I don't think there's a lot of women that have the upper body strength or
that want to
or whatever. But the female drivers I worked with, amazing. And they received all the same training and support. And they received all and we were like adamant on how they're treated in the change room. We're adamant on things because they have to report all of this to like public things and whatever, and like nobody
held to standards
of that. Like, a company that large, like, so I have a really hard time in this day and age. Like, if it is a truly corporate company, like I'm talking big, publicly traded, like on the market, like all those things, no way.
Yeah. And I think it comes down to people. This is what I talked about before. I'm so tired of it being like, oh, it's misogynist. It's like, yo, I have worked with men that are misogynists, and I've worked with women that are misogynists or whatever, you know what I mean? Or misandrists, you know what I mean? Like, it just comes down to the person. And I've had
individual. It's not.
It's exactly. So it's like, Exactly. And to your point, like corporations now, there's lots of places in place where there are inclusions. We're talking like 20, 30 years ago, maybe. But again, how did corporations started? They probably started because people were on the ground and they had to then move away from that and manage the business side of it. And so since most it was that men went out and that's just the way it was, then that's where business and corporate did have so many male dominant things. Here's another thing, ladies. I love y'all. I love myself. I feel like nowadays I'm pretty fucking balanced, but y'all, I'm still emotional. And I will tell my boss that. I'll be like, yo, I'm upset. I'm not taking this well, but I'm also a day before my period. So can you just fucking call me and help me work this out? Because I'm probably taking this wrong, but I just need to know. And then he'll talk it out with me. And that's great. But I mean this in the nice way. We are more emotional. We should be more emotional. I always love when it's like the man is the leader and their assistant is a woman. You have working together as a team and there's that respect. I think it's beautiful. And that's what I currently have. Yes, my boss is a male. We're about the same age. He's very chill. He's one of my favorite humans. He's seen me work from day one. He respects my hustle. I work hard for him. I'm honest with him through everything. And he's the same for me. And there's just mutual stuff and we just vibe. We've had our moments. Of course, everyone does. It's a high stress thing, but it's never been out of disrespect. It's because, you know what I mean? And I don't get that when I go, I mean, sometimes you get that because it's corporate, but it's like, that's just what corporate is. So if you're not getting listened to, I don't always think it's because you're a woman. I think it's just because it's a corporation. You know what I mean? Because I know some men that don't get listened to either. It's just where you are in your position in the company sometimes.
And that's one thing with corporations is you need to know the structure for whether it's complaint, whether it's further education in your role, whether it's whatever. And so if you know it, you're good. And if you don't, you need to ask somebody. And maybe it's somebody who's in the same role as you, who's been there longer, but at a different location or something. Reach out and be like, hey, this is the problem I'm having. I need to know who I talk to. Like, whatever. Again, I was always at an advantage because my mom was there in the start. But
I'm an advantage because I have great people that I work for. So I'm like, I just talk to them honestly. It's very great.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. And that is like, that's a protection in itself. Like if I needed, I mean, nothing ever happened with my boss. He was phenomenal. My boss was a single dad for many years, and I think that made him like the greatest. Like, he was fantastic.
Caring, a different level of sympathy being a girl dad.
Yeah, he actually is a girl dad. But
See?
he got it. He got it. Like he knew that if I said, my job will get done today, I promise you that, and I will answer the phone every time it rings. But I've got 3 kids with 3 different appointments at 3 different offices today. I got to do it. If you need me to work, this is how it's going to go down. Yeah. And he was like, this didn't happen often, but in the very rare case it did, he was like, okay.
Because it's a respect.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have to earn it. Like you have to show them you're proficient with your job. You have to show them that, and that's another thing with corporate that if we're comparing it to MLMs, like if you're really bad at selling whatever it is you're selling, your oils, your containers, your nano sprays, whatever it is you're selling,
your zeolites.
If you're not good at selling that, well, all it is, I mean, they're not going to kick you out of the MLM. They'll keep you. You're still in that downline or whatever it is, but like you're not making anything. No. If I'm not good at my job, I lose it. Yeah. And they have grounds to do that, and they have a system of documenting it, and they have all these things. And so like one, you can't slack too hard. Nope. You can't do the job. Yep. That's whatever. But there's also protections. I need to not be able to do my job for a consistent amount of time. I need to not show up without calling for a consistent amount of time. They have to document it. It's all on them to prove it. There's all the things. So like if it's just a matter of like you have 2 really bad mental health days and you don't have the capacity to pick up a phone or whatever and you disappear for 2 days and then you show up on the 3rd, you got to have an awkward conversation with your boss, but they can't fire you.
No, exactly. And such a good point. You're much more protected in those senses where it's like, and that's what I'm trying to explain again. It's like, I'm not trying to shade, but you guys talk about how awful corporate is and how terrible it is to be locked in, but you're just locked in and it just looks different. I don't have to, and this is for everybody that sells and entrepreneurs, like, and I'm not shading them. I don't need to shade your industry and what you're doing to make mine work. Mine just works regardless. My company stands for our customers, but I don't need to go out and recruit people. I don't need to shade what you're doing. All I'm saying is, one, corporations, for the most part, this also includes government and our blue collared boys, like in a sense, right? Those are all businesses. They're just the work different part of the level of corporation, right? They're what make the world go forward. And I'm not saying that we don't need sales and we don't need products and we don't need coaches and we don't need help and we don't need those things. We do. But if every single person just ditched their 9 to 5, because it's not just corporate, it's the 9 to 5s, which I'm sorry, I work 7 to 3:30. Please adjust your shade because I'm done before 4 p.m. Like, where was I going with that? I was just thinking how it's so stupid. The 9 to 5, yeah. So you're shading the 9 to 5. Yeah, the world wouldn't exist. Like, we wouldn't have schools, we wouldn't have doctors, we wouldn't have oil field people, we wouldn't have people doing the roads. We wouldn't like, and they work different various of
in
9 to 5, but
structure
we need
that we
that.
live in right now.
Yes,
like, as it is, like not the post-apocalypse, not after the fall of capitalism, whatever
Yes.
it is people want to think of in the future.
End of the world. Yeah.
But as we stand right now, corporations, even your free health care, I mean, a lot of stuff is it's a corporation. Like
It's a business. It needs structure.
I think one of my biggest like eye roll things when people have like a negative or very uneducated comment on corporate is that I almost want to be like, I'm going to need you to narrow it down, because corporations are a lot.
Yes.
WestJet's a corporation, and how do you get to your summits? It's like the Hilton class hotels as a corporation, and where are your summits held? And like, so it's like all these things. It's like, I'm gonna need you to get a little bit more specific on whatever, because it's like, so the program director at the hotel that this all-inclusive hotel that you paid for with this MLM money. So should the program director or the entertainment director or the food director, like, should none of those people have their jobs? How will you vacation? How will you have these luxury free paid for vacations if these people don't exist? Not everybody wants your job.
No,
and you don't want everybody to have your job, because let me tell you, you want those paid for all inclusive destination vacations that you earned, right?
yes, absolutely. And then to that, it's just like, I don't have to shade your shit for you to, like, you know what I mean? That's it. Like, you want to do that, that's great. But don't tell everyone they should and they're idiots from working in a 9 to 5 and working for someone else and working for the man. Baby, you also working for a man. You just don't talk to him directly, but I guarantee you at the top of Young Living, at the top of doTERRA, at the top of all of those, there is a man at the top of that corporation that you are working for and is making some money. And if not, okay, then it's a woman. Who cares? But it's money outside of you. So they're not really a difference. Unless you're an entrepreneur and you're paying for everything and you're getting all the money back, that is not the same as owning your own business. I'm so sorry. You're a salesperson. That's cool. And you can do whatever the fuck you want in that. And that is free. You can work as much or as little as you want. But that doesn't mean that corporations, everyone should quit that to go and do that. And nor should everyone quit to be entrepreneurs. It takes a certain person to be an entrepreneur, right? And again, I'm not saying everyone should go in corporate either. No, there's a lot of artistic people that should not be in a business, that should not be doing that.
And an entrepreneur is what started
the business.
The first, the first company that grew into
the corporation. And most people want to, because then you're being successful. That means that people want your stuff. So there's a balance, and I get it. It's very cut and dry. You cannot be emotional because it's about numbers. It's about money. But then the way you combat that is become extremely fucking valuable and know your worth. So even if you do let go from that job, it's like, I'm trusting God, source, universe, that they're putting me on the right path to someone else. And I know that my skills, my vibe, who I am as a person will fucking get a job anywhere. I'm not worried about it. And that's how I am right now. Like, I'm in cannabis, man. My job can end tomorrow. Besides the oil field, it is so fucking volatile. It is all over the place. And I've been holding on to this ride for almost 6 years now. I'm very proud of it. Actually, 6 years. Well, because 2018. Oh, sorry, it was
so you're coming
longer.
Up to 7.
I'm coming up to 7.
Yeah,
2018 is when I started.
6 years this year, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, fuck, crazy. Anyways, I'm in it for the long haul, but this will probably be my last one if I ever walk away from it. But I know that. And in the meantime, I'm like, how do I protect myself from that anxiety of like, you could just get let go and you don't matter. Well, you could have that anywhere, even as an entrepreneur.
We learn tons of skills
within
these jobs.
Thank you.
I couldn't do an Excel spreadsheet.
Yes.
Prior to my 7 and a bit years with this company, but I had to get good at it. Mm-hmm. But they literally have they make the college level Excel courses available to you.
Yes. Absolutely.
You
Or
know,
someone will
like,
train you there. I got trained on Excel by an engineer who taught me how to do like this huge cannabis report. And that's how I learned how to do Excel,
yeah,
was from her, and how she built it. And she taught me how to put it together. And then I just
yeah.
started Googling shit.
And like the company is so big. Like everybody always says, too big to fail, and you know that
Mm-hmm.
proves wrong often. But like it is so big. Like there is an expert whose job is our payroll, like our time tracking system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you can
Exactly.
just send her an email, tell her your question, and the literal authority on the program, the coder, is giving you your answer.
Yeah.
You have a problem with your computer? We have an entire 3-story office. It's in India. But
Yes.
I never had a problem dealing with them. I actually I want to slap when people are like, I hate Indian IT. I'm like, one, they're better than anybody at these damn things.
This is very fair.
And
Just
two, I
depends.
never
Again, it's
had
the
an
person
issue.
you get.
I
It's
never
the
had an issue
person you
with their
get.
accent.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
And as someone who was getting stock options in the company I worked for, I wanted them to be frugal. So no, not everything could be made or delivered from Canada or America.
Yeah, good point. Good fucking point. And two, it's just
I'm a
like, it's again,
shareholder, and they have an obligation to keep the
to
shares
help you.
high. And if that means that we have a division of our company in India, which is an entire IT team dedicated to us, yeah. And we needed it because our trucks are smart trucks, our technology in every single aspect of the company.
Every aspect. Oh, every fucking aspect. I totally feel that. And it's like, it's again, and you know that, like, things just happen for business. So I just always tell people, if you're in corporate, again, learn as much as you can from the company that you're working with. Like, it is education. Like, there's some people that went to school. I went to the school of life, and I got I didn't go to school for a math, like I did, yeah, basic
Nothing
Excel.
I did in school prepared me for this job.
100%, and I learned it all, and now I have all these skills. Like, to your point, I'm an Excel master, so now I've got my budget in Excel, I've got my workouts in Excel, I'm starting to build my new business out of my Excel, and that's all gained from my work experience, right? And also, like, all the jobs that led me up to today brought me to today. I did accounts receivable, I did accounts payable, I did all that. So now when I'm in inventory, I have an understanding of what the financial department is going to be looking at, so I have a better understanding of how I could be a better coworker and stuff like that, and build your resume. And so it's like, again, there is bad everywhere, but please stop using corporate, and you're shading your local women. Like, I thought MLM girlies and like people like that, I thought they were supposed to be girls, and like, you should be proud of us boss bitches that are in these fucking corporate situations that men only dominated, getting the respect, getting the fucking compensation, getting the time to grow. Like, my company allows me so much time to grow, and because we're a new industry, I can't have an ego, man. I'm gonna get it wrong a lot of the times. There's no fucking handbook to cannabis. There's no handbook to corporate cannabis. I'm pretty sure drug dealers didn't figure out how to write SOPs to ship something across the country to,
I don't know,
Quebec.
they're pretty organized.
That is true. I should have looked into it. Yeah.
There were pretty organized situations.
This is true. I should go see if I can find a snowboarder Olympic guy, Ryan Wedding, and see if he could give me some business tips of, you know what I'm saying, of drug dealing in Canada.
We made shit happen.
Right? Like, so crazy. But just point being is like, my thing is like, if you're doing something outside of corporate, that's amazing. Share your experience and how much you love it. Please stop shitting on everyday people like me, everyday people like you were doing, right? Because without us too, the world really wouldn't go around with everybody, right? So there's no need to shade on us. And if you have to resort to that, I would question what you're doing. Because if you have to get people into your company, your business, your line of work by shitting on everybody else, that's not integrity to me. You should just be able to share truly what you're doing for real. Be real, babe. Don't fake it. And that should attract people. But because if it doesn't, then you have to lie. I would be questioning what you're doing, because I have integrity every day I go to work. I don't go up and shit on other people to do my job. And so I can't imagine that feels good energetically and karmically, personally.
Even if you just go to the principles of sales, it's like, one, if you aren't growing your team organically, then you're not actually growing a team that's going to be successful and bring their upline income.
Yep.
And two, if you can't grow it organically, and even by force is minimal, the market's saturated. Go find something else, and you can. Nothing's stopping you. And
nothing's stopping you.
Us corporate girlies don't always have. I can't just go guarantee it. Just make a lateral move or make it whatever. So, but yeah, the push, like the icking other people or whatever, isn't work. And you don't want everybody. You don't want every single person selling your product, because then who's the customer?
100%. And I just think it's like, you should just be able to be excited for what you want. I just hope for 2026 we could just keep sharing the things that excite us, and not like, I hate, it's even in the fitness industry, like, oh, I'm not going to do Pilates because that's not a real workout or shit like that, like shading on it. It's not
Pilates.
cute.
Go
just
do
go fucking,
Pilates.
right? And like, and maybe that isn't hard to someone that power
Well, that
lifts,
is
but
too
not
hard for me.
everybody, but yeah, but like, it's just like, not everyone wants to be a power lifter, right? Like,
Yeah,
again, why are we yucking people's yums? Let's just let them do it and share what you love to do, and you
yeah,
will get your people. I don't want to have people around me that I had to manipulate to be around me because I'm lying to them. That's the whole idea of the
that's
podcast,
a
right?
big. And then can you trust all the people around you
No.
because you had to manipulate them? Yeah, that's I didn't
And
even think of that. That's big.
and then another thing too is like I worry who's actually my friends or who's just waiting to pitch me a sale. That's the biggest problem I have with a lot of MLM people, but that's anybody in a small business too. And then they get really excited and I'm like, do you just want to be friends because you want to sell me something? Or you see that like this was Beachbody when I was fitness instructor and like more fitness instructing is coming for 2026. But back then it was like Beachbody women were all over me because they love my vibe. And it's like, we want to share that this was you like before and after. I'm like, but it's not. Beachbody's not what got me to where I am. Like, so why would I lie about that? Like, this is so disingenuous. And like, considering my branding is like being real. Like, if you have a product to sell, that's great. Sell it. That's all you need to do. You don't need to cold message people. You don't need to harass people. You don't need to put down other people's companies. I don't do any of those things. You don't see me shading black market dealers.
Yeah,
Do whatever the fuck you want. I'm just going to sit here and work for my legal dealer. You do what you want. That's your life. I don't need to sit here and talk down to the black market. I mean, I can't. They're cheaper, so nobody's going to really listen. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to do that. I just need to work hard in my own world. And if you want to do a corporate job, you have to literally fucking man up and get some testicles and realize that you are in that level. You are in a, like, fight. Like, you have to be professional. You have to be calculated. You have to be emotionally regulated. You have to be 10 steps ahead of yourself. You have to be critical of who you are. You have to, you will literally face the darkest sides of you. But I have come out such a strong, more calculated, balanced human being because I've had to deal with corporate professional world. And I don't get to be a fucking woke liberal freak out all the time. Does that make sense? Like, not to be rude, but you know what I mean? Like, you have to be an adult, I guess.
Yeah.
In a sense.
I got one thing in my corporate job that I had, I never did anything that like haunts me. That was like super embarrassing or whatever. They have, whatever. So I did Beachbody for a little while, and I will say that shake gave me the best skin I've ever had in my fucking life.
And that's good if products are good.
Or like easily get it because it's not a Canadian product. So now with duties and stuff, the best skin of my life. So I suffer from like some redness, but so good, so good. But,
and that's great. Then anyway, you share that, and you share that a product works, right? But you're not just being like, every other protein shake is shit. Like,
that's something so embarrassing. So embarrassing. And I'll share it because I can laugh about it now. But every now and then it creeps in and haunts. It is so cringe. So I sent like a hey girly message to a cousin. She's technically my mom's cousin, but anyways. And her response back to me was a photo of her, like a selfie. And she had a body, like she had a body.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, sorry, I teach bar A like 6 days a week. Like I don't need this. And I was like, oh. And I still have my like Beachbody mom bod, but like I was working out every day and I was doing stuff for me and I was doing whatever and I've carried that over and I will continue. I will forever do 21 day 6.
Oh, and like, and that's, I'm not shading it. It's
and they also got rid of affiliate marketing, but it's like,
and that's great.
Like
I think that's better.
Doing hey girly thing, like oh my god,
the Hunbots.
Are you gonna like? I want to know. I want to know how many of them want to be honest and be like, I got humbled. Like I got humbled.
I would say anybody that's probably messaged me when I was going through my anti-MLM phase after I got burnt by a few of them definitely got one of those messages. Now I'm just like, thanks for thinking of me. I'm not interested. And if they keep going, I might be a bit aggressive. I was kind of aggressive to a high school friend, but it pissed me off because she'd been following me for a while. She was seeing all my stories and then she started selling one of the new MLMs and was like, oh, I know you're against Botox, so I thought you would like this. And I was like, you obviously haven't dove deep enough because I'm not a fan of the MLM structure and I'm not a fan that you just reached out to talk to me for this specific reason. Yeah. You have been watching my shit for a while. You could have supported my podcast, anything else, but you're only talking to me. Like, you could have asked anything, but immediately it's like, I know the tactic because I've been in the background of MLMs. I know the tactics. And that was
me that day to my mom's cousin.
Exactly. And you know it too. And then you get cut off.
Oh, I'm one of them.
And we've all been there, man. Like,
Yeah.
and I was a part of Avon. I loved Avon. Did Mary Kay for a while. There was a hemp one that happened back in the day. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a hemp one. And that's when cannabis just came online. So then they completely skirted out of Canada
Yeah.
because then legalization was happening. And that was pretty much the last one. Oh, Mona V, that like juice. That was in Grand Prairie. That one got me when I was in Grand Prairie.
Oh,
We're working at
that one I
Dr.
never heard
Peatgrass's.
about.
It was like a juice. It was like antioxidant juice. And you just drink this and we're going
Is
to
it
go
like
to the
the
top.
red, like the it's
Yeah,
like
it looked in a
pomegranate?
wine bottle and it was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, okay.
yeah, it was really clumpy. It was
Never
like, it was
tried it,
terrible.
but yeah, I've seen it.
So I got lucked and I only lost like 500. I'd say I probably lost like 3,000, but either way, it's the tactics, it's the cult-like mentality, it's all of that we don't actually get in corporate. We don't have a cult there. We don't like, if anything, like you like the people you like, you don't like the, you know what I mean? So it's just like, again, this is not to be an anti-MLM. It's this came up because that's where I see it the most is on social media as these digital marketers, online people that are hating on corporate, telling you and using the marketing to tell you that you're not doing enough in your current job and you're pretty much a loser for wanting to work for somebody else and that you could have this life if you just quit. And I see this and I'm not trying to throw shade, but there's a Canadian influencer podcaster that talks about a lot of stuff and a lot of girlies like him, and he talks very much about quitting your 9 to 5 and just come do my program and what are you doing, you could all be business owners and leave that. No, not everyone could do that. Can you please market? Let's see if this fits for you. Come check it out. But by you hating on that, and I get it, we want to break out of the matrix, but brother, you're using the fucking matrix. So what are you selling? You know what I mean? Just make sure you're not being sold to in these ideas. And there is nothing wrong with not wanting to work for a man and working for yourself. But understand what that comes with. It doesn't turn off. It's like having a fucking child, 24/7 care. So if you want that, great. But don't act like people that don't want that are less than. Because we still contribute to the world, right? And like, yes, I'm going to have my own business. I'm working on my own entrepreneur stuff on the side. Absolutely. Because eventually I don't want to be working corporate for the rest of my life. It's hard. It's not easy. It's not for the faint. But that doesn't mean that I'm just going to abandon what I'm doing right now and go chase this dream. Because that's not realistic and that's not real life. And it's dangerous to do that.
I did corporate. I've done lots of, do your own self stuff, whatever, predominantly, MLM.
Yeah.
And then I've worked in nonprofits as well. And so, but the biggest thing, like just comparing we get it.
MLMs, yep.
And corporate, it's like corporate gave me job security. Corporate contributed to my retirement. I had great RSP matching. I had stock options. Like we got our stocks at a discount. Jim Fish, the CEO of the company, took our stocks way up there.
That's amazing.
My mom started 14 years ago. Like they were like $1 or whatever, or just a few dollars. We're over $150.
That's amazing.
And just going. He did it. So that man did a lot.
And helped a lot of families.
I never had to worry about losing my job because my kids couldn't go to school. I never had to worry about a mental health thing. We had a protocol for it. I never had to. They had university scholarship programs for employees' kids. They have so much. They have a benefit if you have a high needs disabled child. I never had to worry. The one thing was, I did have a window of time. I was paid to be
present
for them.
Yeah, 100%.
So
it's an exchange.
Working for yourself it does have that benefit. Right now, in the position I'm in now, I did retire because I retired to raise my youngest son, to be a homeschooling parent, to focus on that. Yeah. But I still want something, and that's why I'm currently taking some education. But it's like I can't think of outside of the having the freedom of time with an MLM. That's my brain doesn't like those letters right now.
It's like fuck these guys.
That I could have any of those protections that I had. Yeah,
exactly.
I had protection from workplace discrimination, workplace violence, a troll at work. If you put yourself out there online, you have no protections from trolls. If you put pictures of your kids out there, people will shred you.
Oh my God.
Not for this girl.
I'm good, thank you. I like less stress and pressure. I would never. Yeah, and that's such a good point I never thought about too, the discrimination, the online stuff, you know what I mean? If you're, and of course you can fire someone, but say if you're a boss and you're an entrepreneur or someone's in your downline and this person's a bully, Like, like who, sure, there's stuff to protect you too, but that's a little bit harder, right? If you're your own business and you have a bad customer, like there's no one there to protect you. You're the one that has to do the protection.
Yep.
I think my biggest things for MLMs is what they don't understand for this too, and a small business and what protection we have. And I'm not saying this does happen in everyone's, but the legal department as well, right? So, and I'm not saying that I'm doing anything, but there is a legal backing. If you're doing your job properly, your company, then you work for them, they also are going to protect you legally. So one thing that MLMs don't, where they say they have their own business, it's like, well, you don't actually understand that you don't actually have to take on the legalities of what you're doing, because you actually do work for a corporation, which has a big legal department, which is crushing the independent women that are speaking out against the company that you work for. Look at Monat. Monat has literally shut down so many lawsuits against them because they have such a big legal department that they just crush all these independent people that are coming up about how they've been harmed by them. So no, you don't fully understand what it's like to be an entrepreneur, because you don't have to take the responsibilities of some of those. You are protected by some of the corporate things that we all do. Like, we have an HR department. I don't have to worry about taking taxes off my paycheck because the company automatically does. I don't have to worry about taking my RSP contributions off because they already do it for me. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, those are things like, if I'm sick, I just got to call in and I'm like, I'm sick. Obviously my job's a little bit more complicated. It's not, but you know what I mean?
We had an app.
Exactly. I just text my boss. Done. If you own your own business, you have to deal with that shit, or you close down and potentially, and I'm not shading it. I'm just saying, I'm not shading your job. Please don't shade mine, but also be honest about what people are getting into. I will be honest, corporate is fucking hard. You are going to be faced with all of the things that are wrong with you. All of your mental health insecurities or issues are going to be put to the forefront. You have to face your shadow work. You have to do a lot because you're getting a bunch of fucking people in one room that have been grown up differently, have different religions, have different cultures, have different home lives, have different thoughts, and you have to be a professional adult to move towards the greater good.
And professional feedback, which is
yes, it is. And sometimes it's not right, and you have to deal with that too. Sometimes they're fucks.
You definitely have to be able to receive those things, and you have to frame it as, again, when it is accurate, appropriate, and delivered, following.
And not saying it doesn't.
That set up.
Yeah.
It is only to make you better. Whether it's to make you a better personality to be around, a better person at your job, a better person for customers, so like whatever it is to make it better, because when you're better, our service to the customer is better, and that's ultimately their end goal. Period. End of story.
And we've learned a lot about that over the last decade. I think people are understanding corporate, what it was 10 years ago, isn't corporate like it is now, because they can't be. Like you said, like we have all inclusive, we have like diversity meetings, we have so much, like if I need therapy, they have all the resources for it, not only paying through benefits, but they also have work stuff there. Like, and no, do they always serve through? No. And if you've had an experience where you've had a bad corporate, I totally get that. I have had dickhead bosses. I have had misogynist assholes, but I will have that anywhere I go, whether that was in the waitressing industry, whether that was photography clients, whether that, like, I've had my own businesses too, right? So it's everywhere.
My beef with corporate was when it's, the smartest guy in the room makes a decision that's going to affect the entire operational division. But it's like, you're operating in a northern rural community where Farmer Jim still wants to come in and pay his by cash
bill.
And you want everybody to go on an app as a customer, and it's like,
it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work for every model, but it works for most models. And their goal is 80 to 90%. So it's going to happen. So like, those are the frustrations you get.
The realistic the realistic,
and every single site, no matter what, has whatever, there's lots of different things. Every site has a unique thing that the corporation has set as law and doesn't work for you. So you gotta figure out diversity and get unique with your thinking and your delivering, and it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a part of it too, right? And it's like, it's collaborating, it's being open and being like, some people just don't know, and that is the downfall. It's like people at the top making decisions that are very out of touch with people on the floor, right? But that's just like a part of it, because everyone can't be a part of everything all the time, and that's how you ebb and flow. And good companies will get rid of the bad people and get the right people in place, and it's just all a part of it. But at the end of the day, every place is going to have struggles, every company. And to be honest, you just have to find the right corporate company that aligns with a lot of what you believe in and works towards that. Like, our company very much respects work-life balance. Like, if someone has something going on, like, there's people that have had to take mental stress leaves and their jobs are there when they come back. There's people that have gone away for having babies and they've come back, or they're going through a divorce. So can I work from home the whole time? Absolutely. Like, you can find places like that, but not all places are like that. So again, why are we blanketing shit? Why are, what I mean? And that's what I'm just saying. If you want to work in the corporate job and you're happy with your 9 to 5, who fucking cares? Like, don't stress me that you're less than of a human because you don't have your
Yeah.
own business or you're not doing your own MLM or affiliate marketing or you don't have a link in your bio. Like, what's so beautiful about my job? It doesn't rely on social media. And if I
Yeah.
want to fucking peace out and black out for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
the podcast might be affected. I don't make money on it. Main reason
Well,
why, right? Like, because there's not that pressure.
Yeah, I don't want to put myself in a position where I have to like show every aspect of my life. I share a lot of like, I love to cook, I love to food, I love to prepare, like whatever. I show a lot of that, and I share a lot of political memes.
Yes.
And like I
Same.
couldn't be palatable for every customer on that, and I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to get trolled for my messy kitchen, because my kitchen's a mess. It's a mess right now because it's used.
Use it, yeah, exactly.
At the very end of the night, that bitch is clean.
Yes.
But breakfast comes the next morning and it's gone. So
well, and that's like people just see a snippet and they're like, that's it forever, right? And that's the thing, right? And it has its own issues. It comes with its own problems, right? Like being online presence all the time is a lot of work. And I'm not downplaying or saying one's harder than the other. I'm just saying I love that I don't have to shit on entrepreneurs or MLMs or affiliate marketers to get paid and recruit people. Like, people are always going to be coming to work for us no matter what. People will leave, people will go. It is what it is, but it's not going to affect me and my job, and I don't have to convince people of my life or my lifestyle or my job to have them come there. And I'm just great with it. And a lot of people like that. That's great. I'm not a sales girly. That's not my thing. And so I get it, but it's almost to the point now where I think marketing and people are being so tired of being sold on social media that like I said before, I do think people are going to start removing themselves from these social media platforms, because it's almost like TV, what it used to be like. Yeah. TV was all about selling at the end, and it was so much commercials that it's just too much now.
Like,
I hope so.
And I mean, it doesn't really have anything to do with like corporate girlies or whatever, but I think we are in an exhausted season, like people as a collective, especially moms, that like, it's my experience, so that's what I can speak to. We're done, like
fatigued.
Like, we've really limited streaming services. We've really limited like what we're watching, like all these types of things. Like, we started buying physical DVDs. We started, like, and things like that.
Getting back to the simpler times.
My spouse is completely off all social media, which was actually a little funny. I had a lot of people message me and be like, is everything okay? And I'm like, it happened when there was that massive password breach that happened several months ago. And he was so irritated. He had to change every single password. I changed like 2 or 3, got bored. I'm like, fuck it. Take my idea. I don't care. Like,
yeah, I've already been hacked. I'm just like, whatever. I don't even care now.
And he was like ragey. He was like, no. Yeah.
And fair though, but there's some people and that doesn't change anything. And it's like, I'm sure his life is nice. I'm more of like, I like going on YouTube and like looking at stuff like that. Like, I'll watch my shorts on YouTube. Like, I'm just really struggling with the social media platform. But again, that's what a lot of people love, and it's not going to go away.
Yeah, YouTube shorts are bad for me. I have the scroll addiction.
Oh, for sure. That's where it is for me.
Exactly where it happened, and so I'm working on it.
Yes, but for me, if I feel like if I go on YouTube, I'm more apt to watch the long form and just those reels than get involved in the selling. Like, YouTube is people creating art more than like, of course there's ads in there, but now I feel like every second thing I'm seeing on social media is a sales pitch. Where YouTube, I don't feel like I'm being sold. I'm actually like, yes, there's some aspect to it, but that's not the main thing. It's sharing information and learning stuff. And so that's what I like to see, versus like every second person trying to sell me with their affiliate link that I just don't trust because they're just making money off of the affiliate link. I'm like, did you even use this? Like, influencers are now how I feel about celebrities. They used to be, you could go to them to be real about stuff and they're going to tell you honestly, until people started paying them. And now I don't trust them at all. The makeup influencers, all of it. Even like crunchy people now too. I got caught up in the freedom side too, where at the very beginning of the pandemic, I'm like, well, all of this must be wrong, so all these people must be right, to find out that there was just a bunch of fucking snake oil people there too. You know what I mean?
That's that extreme itch, I guess.
Exactly.
Like,
it's got to that balance.
A platform called School with a K.
Okay. And yes, for education.
Some of it's free, some of it's paid for, but it's like masterclass meets.
I've seen that.
YouTube.
Yeah, I love that. I've also been using Headway, the Headway app.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about that. I'll have to look into it.
So that's where I'm just like, I think people will start to replace stuff with social media with educating themselves and micro. So Headway. Exactly. And that's what it started for, to educate people. And now it's been taken over by marketing. And I just hate it. And so Headway is an app. What it does is it takes a fuck ton of books and it summarizes them in like 7 to 10 points. So let's say
Oh,
if it's like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or then they have these like challenges. So it's like a finance challenge. So they'll bring you through all these summaries of books and they'll pull out the key points of that book and then you read it or listen to it. I do both on 2 times speed. And then, so it's like a summary of a book is like maybe 10 to 15 minutes and it's
mhm.
like micro learning. And then if you like that book, then you can go buy it. But then you kind of already get like, you get the summary
Yeah,
of the book and the key points of it, which, like I like diving in, but right now I'm not finding the time to read. So these
yeah,
15-minute increments of learning, like I've been learning about like how to speak confidently.
yeah,
And so it's all these books on how to speak. And it's like 15 minutes a morning. I just step on my stepper and I just listen to my book. I'm like, this is amazing. Like little apps like that. Instead, for the last like 6 months, I've just been scrolling on social media when I've
yeah,
been doing my stepping. And I'm like, this is not, now I just feel like I'm being sold. I'm pissed off. I'm angry and I didn't learn anything. So like, just those things are starting to be replaced. And I'm not trying to worry everyone. There's going to be places for MLMs and social media, but I'm just glad that my job doesn't depend on that and that I'm free to express my artistic side as a hobby and as a channel versus getting paid. Because when I did that for photography and fitness, it took the allure of hobby and fun for me and creativity and turned it into making money, and that actually dims my creativity quite a bit when I have to rely on my bills being paid for my art.
yeah.
Personally, that's
I
just
just
personal.
had a thought. So you're talking about like books and stuff and
Yeah.
whatnot, and like bettering yourself. One thing that I've thought of too, like with corporate, was our managers were like mandated to take training
Yes.
regularly on how to be better managers, and oftentimes they were given books that they were expected to read, and like all the managers had to basically have a book club, for lack of
Yep.
a better term.
Yes. For
And I
continuing
had a friend who
education.
worked for an entrepreneur, and her management didn't have great management skills. They had a great vision, they had amazing work ethic and whatever, but they were expecting their employees to put their blood, sweat, and tears and entire life into it. But it's like it's not their company, but it's theirs.
Yes.
Like it's
I get
so
that
I think
totally.
that's another like point for me
Yeah.
for corporate, where it was like
They are held to a standard too.
they have to be getting better at managing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we reviewed our managers just as often as they reviewed us.
100%. And you had a performance
Corporate
review. We
sets
just
out
did
the
ours. Yeah, we
yeah,
just did our performance reviews. We have SMART goals every year that we have to achieve, and they're hard, and I
smart
bitch
goals
about them.
drove me nuts.
They
They
do, but
drove me nuts.
I also, I'm just a person that I'm good at being challenged. So for
Yeah,
me, if I can work my brain around something like that to be motivation, I will. So for me, it's just like, yeah, everyone bitched and I bitched about them too. Trust me. I was kicking and screaming on my way of writing my fucking Word document yesterday. But then when I worked back at the year of my day to day plus the extra I said I was going to do for this company, I felt so fucking proud that I was able to nail that. You know what I mean? Because there was guidance there, there was structure. It's like this is the goal and you're going to go hard. And I'm not going to get fired if I don't get it. But it was just that extra layer of accountability to rise myself up and use and force my brain to expand itself,
yeah.
which I need a job
We
that's going to
had
expand my brain.
in our goal setting, so it depended on who was the head of HR for at a
Of
corporate level
course.
each time, whatever.
Yeah.
We went through a few while I was there, and like one year you had to have like a health goal for yourself.
That's amazing.
And then there was like another year, like they just wanted a personal goal or like a personal education goal, like whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first came back after my health crisis and I was in between transplant, I had just come back. I'd been off work for a year. I just come back. I came back in that time of year and they're like, we need you to set goals. I'm like,
Out of love.
cool. And one of them was like a personal goal. And I literally like, I was ready to rage quit. Like I was at a thing and for my personal goal, I think I put in like, get a transplant and not die. Oh no, it was not die and not quit. That's what it was. It was like right around those lines. Sent it to my manager. My manager was like, are you sure? Are you like what? And I'm like, send it. Do it. If I die, I die. Like I like I couldn't and then like so then like the HR for our area was like, she can't do this. And he was like, you have to tell her. And
I
so
gotta
she
tell
did.
you.
And I was like, well, what should I write?
Yeah, because really that's my
You
focus
can
right
write
now.
that, but can you put more to it?
Yeah. Okay.
She's like, it needs to be a SMART goal, Adrianna. What's your action?
Not work. Just kidding.
Okay.
That's fair. You have very valid reasons to hate SMART goals.
Okay. We do it. Like even my mom was like, Adrianna, what are you doing? Because they didn't share
I
it
think
with
it's
my mom.
funny.
I shared it with her.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
And she
Yeah.
was like, what are you doing? And
It's
I
trying
was
to be
like,
funny.
well, this is how I feel. She's
Well, I
like,
mean, yes.
she's like, maybe you should have been given an extension. Did you ask for more time to like be in the right headspace for this? I'm like, no. She's like, well, then that's on you.
Yeah, right. But that's the thing, right? Those are the lessons that we get to learn is like, unfortunately, in corporate, you have to be faced with your
Yeah.
self-responsibility and accountability because you work with other people, their paychecks affected by you. And
Yeah.
most people are there to provide for their families or
And
themselves,
also,
right?
I had a little temper tantrum and didn't lose
Yeah,
my job.
exactly. And
And I got
that's
some help creating it into a SMART goal.
exactly. And it's funny. And you can look back on it now, right? So
Yeah.
again, I don't think corporate's for everybody, and I don't think every corporation is good. No. I
And
think
not
there
everybody
is,
wants to be an
and
entrepreneur. I
not,
don't want to work
no,
that hard.
exactly. And there's a lot of greed everywhere. But I think the message that I wanted to portray today is I love my corporate job. Corporates have helped me, businesses help, but that suits me. I'm a creative. And when I use my creativity to fund my life, it's not good for me. And so I've always been like, you can be a creative and you can go make your money from that. But you also can be a creative on the side if you don't want to have that art and that energy and you want to protect that because greed and money does ruin things sometimes, right? So for me, it's like, I'm okay with doing this during the day because at nighttime I do my passion and I am passionate about weed and I am very structured and I love being challenged and I love like going through adversity. Like we've merged like 7 different companies in the 5 years I've been here and I've been through every single one and I've helped. And like, I just think it's cool. I think it's cool to be a part of something new. And we're trailblazing a whole new industry.
Yeah.
The cannabis industry is a whole new space. That is exciting to me. That's fucking cool. I'm doing things I don't think anybody else in Canada does specifically what I do. There's other people that ship weed, don't get me wrong. But my set skills, I'm probably the only person in Canada that does that. And not many necessarily entrepreneurs always, like, yes, it starts that way, but get to say that where they get to pioneer a new industry, they get to dictate their future and where they want to go, and that they love what they're doing. I get that that's not everyone in corporate, but I just wanted to share that there are people that do. We're just busy working and we're not on podcasts sharing and we're not trying to recruit you because our money, what we do, we don't have to rely on recruitment to get paid. So that's why you're not hearing about it. I don't have to brag about my job. I don't have to brag about the benefits because
job.
That's a
Like,
recruiter's
I have
job.
one of those.
Exactly. Our company has one of
I don't want to
those.
be a recruiter, so I don't have that job.
No, I don't want to get paid off of that versus that. And I don't want to get paid based off what other people are doing. Of course, because we work in a company, yes, it all goes into one thing and there's people that get paid at the top more. That is different. That's usually tenure and experience and da-da-da-da-da-da. You have to work your way up there. I understand that the people above me have more responsibility and have been here longer. They know more. And I am completely respected that they make more money because I don't want to be at that level. I am very okay with being that middle person and that worker bee that works fucking hard and can be relied on and gets to go home and gets to have my fucking life. And I'm not responsible for hundreds of people and their jobs during the day. I'm okay with that. Not everyone is, and that's cool. But stop hating. Please stop using us as, especially if you're supposed to be a girl's girl. You should be like, I am so fucking proud of my bitches that are in 9 to 5 and I'm the one that fuels them with their protein powder. Like, why can't you come at it that way? You know what I'm saying? Like, why can't you team up with us? Why do you have to hate us and use us as a scapegoat? Because one other experience you had or that you've never had before. If you've never worked in corporate, why are you shading on us? Like, I don't get it. It's just, that's what I hate.
Extra, like they put a little extra in my budget so I could buy from you, and I'm a huge farmers market person, and like if my friends start things, I'll share it, I'll buy it, I'll whatever, like
100%.
and I can do that because I was able to do that with that income. Now I do it with Nico's income.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. So, but still, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, and I'm here to support anybody. I would love to support small businesses, but if the minute I see you shading on anybody else, no matter where it is, I'm not going to support you because you should just be able to be hype yourself and have people buy your shit. And if not, your sales tactics suck and I don't like that. And that's all it is. And that's why I feel very blessed. I don't have to do that, but I understand it's not personal. I'm not taking it personal. I just want people to think about that, right? Like, if you're shitting on corporate, then share your experience. Other than that, you're just a hater. And I share my experience with MLMs because I've been hurt by them, but I'm also like, do what you want. If you're informed and you love the product and you want to buy and you want to sell it, go for it. Just stop telling corporate girls that we're less than because of that and that you're better than us. And also stop telling people that you're a business owner because I'm sorry, you just don't understand the full thing in business. And maybe because you haven't been a corporation, you don't see behind the scenes of a true business. So you don't know, and you truly think you're doing everything for the company. But I promise you, you're doing about 20% of what a whole entire company needs to do. And that's not shade. There's nothing wrong with that. We need salespeople. but it's just factual, and we need to come back to that fact and stop shading. That's all I'm asking. And if you're a corporate person and you feel the hate, like, just don't. If you're truly happy, or this is what you need to do, fuck that being happy. If this is what you need to do to put food on your I don't know why I'm looking up here. This camera's gone out. If you need to do this for your family to put on your fucking table, then do it. And don't feel like you're behind or you're a piece of shit because you don't have your own business and you're not have a link in your bio. That's all I'm trying to get at. I see so many people that are like, should I quit what I'm doing and go join this because they said that I should? And I'm like, do you want to? Like,
do you have a safety net?
Do you have emergency fund? Yes, like, these are dangerous things to say, and I'm not trying to be rude, but some of these women have oil field men, and they're like, just quit your job and go do this. It's like, okay, are you going to tell your husband to do that too? Because he's funding your life. I'm not trying to be rude, but, like, what if that woman that you're saying to, what if her income directly affects their house, and you're saying, yeah, you can make 80K, and she's like, oh, I'm going to leave my fucking stable job to do this, and turns out it takes you a long time to get up to that 80K. You've just fucked those people over for what? To make 1% more on your MLM? That's what I'm not okay with, right? So, like, don't. And stability is fine. And if you're providing for your family and you're doing what you have to do and you hate it, but you're providing for your family, man, that's strength. That's balls. And if that's the case, at nighttime, start figuring out what you love. And then start doing that on the side to get yourself out.
I'm trying to remember the exact thing or whatever. It's like how to find your calling. It's like, what do you always find yourself doing?
Exactly.
What do you always find yourself doing? Whether it's like, and it doesn't necessarily have to be your passion project or your favorite hobby, but it's like what you default into. Yeah. Exactly. And go from there.
Yes, and honor that and learn as much as you can and do it on the side, and you know what I mean? And then maybe it can turn into something. But don't feel like you're less than because you work for a 9 to 5 and somebody else. Because, babe, we all work for the fucking government anyway. Again, why am I looking up there? You know what I mean? Like, we all fucking put our money towards taxes in the government anyway. So when you say you're not working for a man, yes, you are. His name's Mark Carney in the Liberal government. Anyway, that's not political episode. But thank you so much for sharing. And too, like, you know, like you said, you went through so many things as being a mom, going through your health things. Without that corporate life and that world that you were in, you wouldn't be where you are today.
It was a massive safety net. It was a massive safety net.
Yes. So don't hate on it. If you love it, stay there. And I love having a company where I know everybody and I know about their families and I love, like, what did you do this weekend? Like, I just like that. And that's okay if you don't. But if you do, stop feeling shitty about it. And maybe I'm just saying this to myself. But anyways, Adrianna, thank you so much. I'm going to definitely, like I said, have you back on for season 11. I want to know more about your transplant. I want to know more about what you're getting into. Obviously, we're going to talk personally about that. And then I think season 11 will be the perfect time for you to come in with all this new education that you've gathered to kind of, bring people to that area too in your continuing education. I'm so excited to learn more. But
I'm really excited. And again, it's like, I think it's stuff everybody needs to hear it. Like, you need to hear it. You just need to know what your options are.
Yeah, and you can say whatever you want, but I didn't want to say too much. So if you want to say a little blurb here on what you're doing, great. If not,
I'm working on my license to work in the financial sector, selling, they call them life products, but it's like life insurance, disability insurance, just all those things, annuity funds. The thing that I learned the most was that we discussed was long-term care insurance and stuff like that. Like, that's. If you're taking care of yourself and you plan to live long, like, you should probably, or if you don't, for me, I'm my mom's caregiver. My mom is still independent. She still works, whatever. But like, our plan is she's going to live with me. This is where, until I cannot care for her, but it would go a lot longer if I can have an insurance policy that pays for a nurse to come in or to make modifications to a home, like things like that.
Yes.
You're healthy and you want to live a long time. And you want to live in your house, let's make it easier on your spouse, let's make it easier on your kids, let's whatever, set that plan in motion. But yes, anyways, that's what I'm doing. I'm working on this license. I'm doing it because I have young adult kids who are all making adult money, and I just want them to have this education also, and I don't want them to have to all do it. So mom will do it, mom will pay,
yes, of course,
and then I'll share it.
And I'm so excited because I need this help too. So this is a random adopted daughter, a couple years younger than you. Is that okay? But then you could be the finance sister, right? And like helping people.
I would have been really, really young.
Honestly, you've been through so much, I wouldn't be surprised. We're like, yeah, I had a child at 3. I'm like, yep, that makes sense. But I do want to have you back on about that and about what you're doing there, because I think is a big place that Canadians are very missing their information on. Yeah. And I think, as like I said, you're a person that I trust. I know you're not doing this like to make money. You're doing this for your fucking children, and whatever develops from this. And that makes me trust you 10 times more, because you're doing it because you want to set your kids up in a space. And this is a space I know nothing of, that honestly, I've watched Rebecca a few times talk about it, and I've been like, interested. So it was just kind of like a full moment when you shared, that she was helping or whatever with you, and I was like, okay, this is a full circle moment.
And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I like the knowledge you have and where you're coming from,
Yep.
but I don't want to send my kids to you. I want to be the one, mama
A
bear.
hundred
I
percent.
want to know. And
Yep.
so
Yeah.
this is where we are now.
And that's where you build your confidence in the world, right? Is getting the education and knowing and learning
Yeah.
and putting that into practice, right? So that you feel confident. So definitely want to have you back on for that. And guys, like I said, I'll put it in the description. Go back if you want to learn. If you've never heard of topical steroid withdrawal, like I really hadn't until Sunit and Adrianna and Shamra, like it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing their medical gaslight story. Like it's fucked entirely. So again, I'm looking up there, but I know my camera's broken. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. It's the end of the season. Your girl is crashing out, but thank you so much, Adrianna, for this time. You guys, thank you for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode, guys. Bye. Thank you guys so much for listening. I truly appreciate the support. If you like this episode and you want to hear more, please follow the Be Real Babe podcast on Spotify, Apple, and Rumble. You can also find me at the Be Real Babe podcast on TikTok and Instagram. Until next time, guys. Bye.